Oh hey, so here we are again, Spanish lesson. Okay, so I'll let you into a secret, guys. This is my 4th attempt of recording this video. It's quite funny when you have to be really self-critical of your work and picking out your mistakes. So, a lesson learned for everybody. Our starter for today, guys. Make sure you've got your worksheets with you. And we're going to be recapping on the use of ser and estar from last lesson. So, sentences 1 to 5 have something blanked out. You've got to fill in that gap with the correct form of ser or estar. And why have you chosen that option? Let's look at number 1. La casa, something grande. The house, something big. So we're describing the characteristic of the house. Are we going to be using ser or estar? Is it permanent or temporary? It's permanent, so it's going to be ser. It's going to be es, because we're saying the house is big. See if you can do the rest for me and come back for the answers in no more than 5 minutes. Okay. El piso no está cerca de la playa. The flat is not near the beach. Location. That's the reason why. Number 3. Esta casa está en la montaña y también está cerca de la playa. This house is in the mountains and it's also close to the beach. Again, location. Number 4. Me gusta el piso porque es moderno y interesante. So we're describing the flat itself here. Important grammar point for you to note down here is the connective E. You'll notice it's a different spelling to Y. And that's because any word that follows the connective and in Spanish and that starts with an I, the Y changes to an E. It's due to grammatical rules and phonetics, so make sure you get that written down. And the last one, number 5. Este piso no es enorme porque está en el centro. We've got both being used here because we're describing the flat, that it's not enormous because of the location, because it's in the city centre. Okay, so your lesson today is sponsored by Comparatives.com and Alexander. So, title is still the same, ¿Qué casa prefieres? But we're going to be going a bit further today with our learning objective and comparing different holiday homes using comparative structures, which you have seen before. We did this all the way back when we were talking about TV programs. Skills again are reading, listening and writing. Make sure you're pausing and making notes throughout, and let's go. So a comparative structure is when you are comparing two things. So in English we would say it is bigger than, or she is not funnier than. But in Spanish we break it down further so it's more literal. It is more big than, she is less funny than. Key point is that the adjective must agree with the noun they describe, and the noun it is describing is always the first one. So the person, place or thing has to agree with the adjective. These are what our comparative structures would look like in Spanish. So we have más plus adjective plus que to be more than, and to say less than it's exactly the same, we just change it for menos. So with the adjective agreeing with the noun, we have an example here. Este piso es más moderno que los otros. It's moderno because it's piso, masculine singular, and we're saying it's more modern than the others. So más plus the adjective moderno plus que, and then however you want to finish off your sentence. To extend your level, this is really going to make your writing stand out. You can have this one. Tan plus adjective plus como, meaning as. It is still a comparative, but it's comparing two things and saying they're equivalent to each other. For example, esta casa es tan grande como las otras. This house is as big as the others. Okay, make sure you made some notes on that and ready for the next bit. Key verbs with comparatives. We're going to be using ser, and for singular options, we're going to be saying es for it is and son for they are. So for example, el piso es menos amplio que la casa. The flat is less spacious than the house. The words underlined are the ones that have to agree, piso and amplio, and the word in bold is the verb you need. Same for the plural option down here, but we've just got los pisos son menos amplios que las casas. So menos and que don't change, it's just everything around it. Really important to note that down, and when you're ready, move on to your listening task. All the instructions are on the worksheet for you, and come back for the answers. Okay, so your answers are as follows. Please correct them with purple font, and we shall move on. So imagine this is a mini whiteboard exercise you would have in class. I would say a phrase, or your teacher would say a phrase, and then you have to translate it into another language and write it out for us. This is what I'm going to be showing you. I'm going to be showing you the English phrase, and then I'm going to show you it in a more literal sense as to how it would be in Spanish. For example, the house is bigger than the flat, but we would write it as the house is more big than the flat in Spanish, which translates to la casa es más grande que el piso. Underlined words are what have to agree, and the word in bold is the verb you need to consider. Okay, when you're ready, we've got a couple of questions coming up now. So translate this sentence into Spanish. So this is the natural English way. This is the more literal way to help you into Spanish. Pause the video and play for the answer. The answer is, el piso es más pequeño que la casa. Pequeño and piso, masculine singular. The verb is es. And because we're saying more small, it's going to be más que. Next one. The flat is prettier than the house. Certainly is, judging by this one. So, more specifically, the flat is more pretty than the house. Pause the video, come back for the answer. And the answer is, el piso es más bonito que la casa. So, more, más. Pretty, bonito, than, que. And underlined because they agree. This one here doesn't have a literal option for you because this is quite literal in itself. The flat is less spacious than the house. Give it a go and come back for the answer. Which is, el piso es menos amplio que la casa. Amplio and piso underlined because they agree. Es because it's bold. And instead of más, we're saying less, so it's menos. Here's another one for you. Do you remember that extension I wanted you to try? Extend your writing as. Give it a go. Marvellous is in your knowledge organizer if you need it. The answer is, la casa es tan maravillosa como el piso. So it's feminine singular, la casa, maravillosa. The verb is es, and then we have tan and como instead of más or menos. Last one, guys. We've gone for a slightly different structure here. So I want you to say, I like the house because it is more comfortable than the flat. Please use your knowledge organisers for this answer so that you can get it together and come back for the answer. Okay, so hopefully you got this. For some reason I've decided prefiero is now what I like means in Spanish, which is incorrect. It should say me gusta. So, me gusta la casa porque es más cómoda que el piso. If you wanted to say I prefer, that's absolutely fine, but obviously it's important that when we translate, we are more specific. And as I said earlier, even though this is my fourth time, clearly there are still some things I should have quadruple checked. Never mind, hey. So, your take 10. Imagine this is in class again, and you have got 3 texts, 1, 2, 3, and you've got 5 phrases, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are they true or are they false? Verdad or falso? And then you've got to correct the false answers. 10 minutes and then come back for the answers, which are as follows. Your answers, guys. Number 1 was false. And the reason why it's false is because here in the sentence it says, Dracula's castle is much more boring than traditional houses. And he actually says, my castle is much more interesting. Number 2, Dracula's castle has a small kitchen and a small dining room. That's incorrect because he's saying he has a big kitchen and an enormous dining room. 3 and 4 are true, as well as number 5. Number 5 might have tripped you up a little bit because here Gonzalo el Gonomo, the troll, he says my cave is quite small and less modern than a house. So he does say it's less big than a normal house, but he does actually say it's quite small. So that's up for discussion, that one. Okay, so your last and final task, which everyone needs to do and submit to their teacher, is to describe the photos. Describe las fotos. This is a key GCSE task and something you've actually been doing for a long time now, so you should be pretty comfortable with how this works. You've got the success criteria here of what you should think about and some prompts to get you going. So, what is actually there? So, there is I, there is not. No I. Location, estar. Physical appearance, so es bonito, es moderno. Think of the colours as well in the agreements. Get some comparative structures in there. I want you to compare these photos, please. So, smaller, bigger, more modern, more ugly, whatever it happens to be. And give your opinion about the photo. So, if we're talking about the house, me gusta la foto de la casa. But if you're talking about the flat, me gusta la foto del piso. Write this out on the Word document and then submit it to your teacher. Don't worry about accents too much. Just make sure you can go down this success criteria and say, yes, I've done this, I've done that. Gracias, chicos, y adiós.